brain, you're in the nerds domain. Come on in, it's about to begin.
Hi everybody, I'm Matt.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Shirley.
And welcome to the Nerds Domain Podcast. This week we're talking about Pacific Rim. It's an immediate movie review!
Yay!
Real quick, before we get deep into that, let's talk about our standings. Some people moved this week.
Yay!
And Jesse, you should be the one excited.
I am.
No,
Pacific movie?
Pacific Rim
No,
has not
no.
been recorded yet. Will not be recorded until the Tuesday after the movie comes out.
Yeah.
However, still in first is the person we are no longer friends with, Niles.
Oh my gosh.
John is in second, behind about 160 million.
I'm in fourth?
And third is Jesse,
Yay!
about 36 million behind. Not bad.
No.
Right behind him is Shirley, and she's about 60 million behind you. Niles is Wendell is about 90 million behind Shirley, and I'm $124 million behind Wendell.
Oh my goodness.
However, this okay. First, Lone Ranger had a crap weekend.
You mean it was just a bad movie?
$51 million.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, that's what happens when it goes against Despicable. Despicable Me too.
Despicable Me brought in $153 million.
Yeah.
Which means you're about $60 million away from breaking your numbers. Like, you've made what you're supposed to on that. Nobody else has actually made what they bid. Like, you're supposed to be making about $10 million for every dollar you spend. And the only person that has come anywhere close, I'm about $46 million away on Epic. Fast and the Furious 6 is about
The Great Gatsby.
180 million. Great
and
Gatsby.
You made 142.
Oh yeah, no. That means you should have 250 million.
Oh, that
You're
sucks.
about 110 million behind.
Oops.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Monsters University. You're about 2 million away from breaking your
Nice.
220 million. So yeah, Jesse, you ooh, wow, really? John is only 11 million away from catching it with the Heat. Ugh. And I'm only 149 million away on Lone Ranger. Sorry, I think Pacific Rim's gonna hit the numbers.
I have a rule we should institute the next time we do this.
Okay.
No superhuman movies.
Why?
What does that
Because
mean?
that's Superman and Iron Man 3.
Ah. I'm okay with those.
Pacific Rim is superhuman.
No.
Yeah.
The humans are normal.
Really?
They're just...
What about Tony Stark?
Pacific Rim?
You don't call that kind of... You can't take scrap metal and make it into a robot you can ride into.
He didn't do that in Iron Man 3.
No, but he did that in his origin story.
So?
I don't know.
I think you guys are talking above my head. I have no idea what you're talking about.
you
I was talking
See,
about
Iron
Pacific
Man is this
Rim,
movie with...
and you guys are talking about Iron Man, which I understand it's this dude that makes a suit and he gets inside. And in Pacific Rim, it's a bunch of people that get inside a suit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
you're
it.
with us.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
There you go. I'm fine then.
Except they're a little worse at it in Pacific Rim. It takes 2 people in Pacific Rim. It only takes 1 in Iron Man.
The good news is...
But it's like, how many, like a bazillion times the size of the suit that Iron Man wears? Of course it's going to take 2 people.
the good news is that looking at the numbers, it looks like After Earth was the worst movie of the year so far.
That stinks.
Oh.
Because I liked it.
Well...
Yeah, and I think I had After Earth too,
You
didn't
paid
I?
$27 for that movie.
Ugh.
It made $42 million. It means you should have spent about 4.
Yeah, I know. That's
I thought
gonna
it
gonna
made
lose
50.
me.
No, it made 42. Oh,
After
I'm sorry.
Earth, 58
58.
million.
Yeah,
It
made
doesn't
58.
matter still, yeah.
Should have paid about 6.
I think that if they had actually trailered it for what it actually was,
Yep.
it would have sold better.
But then it wouldn't have been a twist.
There was no twist.
There
But the
no
twist
twist.
wasn't what the trailers made it be.
No, because he
that's
didn't
not
write
a
that
twist.
movie.
You
That's
don't
a
think
lie.
you meta enough.
He didn't write the movie. That doesn't work that way.
That's false advertising.
Yeah. So that's the update on the draft. Johnny couldn't make it with us tonight. He had a family emergency. Wendell and Niles are pretty busy, so we haven't heard anything from them. But
They are missing in action.
Yeah, we would like to remind you to check out Dystopic Boys over at the Dystopic Radio Network.
Yep.
Come to think of it, I don't think they put anything out last week or two. So they're
Niles
probably...
is flying. Wendell is flying.
Wendell is flying. Niles is probably on set somewhere.
Yeah.
So, I would like to remind everybody that Pacific Rim is my movie.
That's why we had to go watch it.
In all fairness,
If it
we
was
chose
my movie,
to
everybody would have
watch
to
this
watch it
movie
too.
before we did the draft.
I don't remember that, or I'd have
I
picked
do.
Despicable Me too.
I would have picked Despicable Me 2 too.
I think
Two
it's
as well.
we didn't
Also,
pick Despicable Me 2
two.
because I haven't seen Despicable Me.
What?
I haven't seen the first one.
Oh,
That is the
yeah.
best animated film in the world.
I don't know about in the world.
In the world.
G.I. Joe the movie.
This beats it.
No.
Barely.
G.I.
Doubt
Joe
it.
the movie.
It has minions.
This has
has
G.I. Joe the
minions.
movie has a snake dude and another dude that gets turned into a snake, and there are living trees. Also,
Ooh.
guy with bat wings.
I want to see
True.
that. Oh, talking about bat wings. Oh, never mind. I can't see
Okay, so just as a warning tonight, this one's going to get spoilery.
What?
So
Are we?
Really?
Oh yeah.
I thought we were going to try to stay
She
calm
already
on
got
this one.
spoilery.
I didn't say anything. I was agreeing
Wasn't
with
there
your
one
bat
flying
wings.
before that one?
No.
Oh.
So now that we've already spoiled the movie, this one's going to get spoilery. Before we argue anymore about whether it's not or not is getting spoilery, it is in fact getting spoilery. So if you don't want to be spoiled by this movie, we understand. I wouldn't want to either.
By this podcast.
Should we state what we
About
feel
this
about the
movie.
movie before we get into
You
the
know what?
spoiler part?
We'll
so
hit
way-
that real quick, and then I will tell you we're going to go into spoilers. I'll pause, let you shut it off if that's what you want to do. I like the movie. I thought this was a fun action-adventure popcorn movie, and Guillermo del Toro gave us amazing visuals and just fun action. The story wasn't deep, but it didn't need to be. We'll sandwich Jesse between the two people that like the movie. Go ahead, Jesse.
Okay, I thought it was meh. It wasn't that I didn't like it, it just wasn't what I was... Okay.
Why? Because
There were
of the
plot holes that
trailers, or what?
I'll get
We'll
into
talk
in the
about
spoiler
it. Yeah,
part.
sure.
Okay.
There's no character development really at all. Little tiny.
There's some...
Okay, I have to agree with
The
that.
only character that I really liked wasn't in it very long.
Okay.
Hannibal Chow. He wasn't in it enough. What else? Oh, it was incredibly... You could see what was coming. Everything was...
Okay.
You
You know
could
what?
tell-
You know
you
what?
could
You-
watch the
you-
first intro of the movie, and you could basically dictate what is going to happen throughout the entire
Okay.
movie.
So finish up your review so that we can get past Shirley's review, and then I can tell you why you're wrong in all these points. Keep going.
That's about it.
Okay.
That's good for now.
Shirley?
Obviously, well, first of all, I want to thank the guys over at Frog Pants for Film Sack and the guys at Major Spoilers for Zach on Film, because me listening to their apps has brought has opened my eyes to other things in the movie that what
You listen to their apps?
their apps, yes.
You mean their podcasts?
Their podcast,
Wait, what
but
are we-
it's
what-
an app in my podcast thing, so I just click on the app and it brings up their podcast.
I'm not
Okay.
entirely sure that's how that
So
works,
that-
but
yeah,
okay.
we'll let this one go.
It's in
Okay.
the podcast app.
Sure,
You just
sure,
click on
sure.
the little thing and
That's
the
fine, that's
podcast comes up. Anyway, it's brought a lot of things to light that I wouldn't have necessarily looked for, or that actually I applied in this movie that made me enjoy the movie more.
Okay.
That being said,
Do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't say it wasn't good. Go ahead.
Speak from your soul. Join the dark side.
I like Charlie Hunnam, so I can't say that I don't like the movie because Charlie was an integral part of the movie.
Which one was he?
The main character.
The main character. Anyway, no. What I did, okay, I don't usually look for like tropes and things like that in movies, but after listening
Hold
to
on.
some of the
Oh, this
You're
has all of
reviewing
them.
real quick. Don't
Right.
don't
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
get too deep.
well, when I liked it.
Did
was
you
great.
like it? Did you really like
Don't
it?
let
Did you
him censor you.
Did
Say
you
how
like
you
it?
feel.
Did you really like it? Do you recommend it?
For an action flick, yeah, I definitely recommend it. It didn't have very much story in it, which is the movies that I like After Earth has a lot of stories in it, and after I got past that, After Earth wasn't like the trailer, and I watched it for what it was, I really liked it. But Pacific Rim, for me, was just kind of like a Fast and the Furious movie.
So you would recommend this to...
Anybody that liked Real Steel.
Ooh, yeah. We'll talk about that in a second.
Actually, I didn't see that one.
According to IMDb, people who like this movie will also like After Earth, Oblivion, Ender's Game, the fourth Transformer movie that isn't out yet.
It's just picking new things.
Super 8 and Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
It's just picking new stuff.
Okay. So.
No.
But yes, I would recommend it to somebody too. I would recommend it to myself 20 years ago.
Oh. Okay. What were you like 20 years ago?
I enjoyed action movies that didn't have a plot, didn't care about character development, and didn't look at plot holes.
Okay. You guys are going to have to teach me about plot holes because I have no idea.
You'll see it when I say
Did
it.
you guys notice that Justin Robert Young was in the movie?
No.
What do you mean, Charlie Day?
Yeah. You know that guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia? That's Justin Robert Young.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my
He was
gosh.
not Justin Robert Young.
No, it looks a lot like him.
Yeah, it does.
That's hilarious.
So, with that said, this is the point where anything past now is going to be spoilers. I apologize. I know normally we don't do this. Normally I wouldn't. But it's not like we can talk about a lot of stuff here without really ruining the movie. It's not like it's so deep that we can discuss the side stuff and still leave you with something.
Yeah.
This is not a deep movie. I don't claim it's a deep movie. I loved it, but it's not a deep.
If we just
Should
did
we
that,
go
it
ahead
would be
and-
like 15 minutes
Yeah, should we
long.
go ahead and give them our star review?
I'd say 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say 4.5.
About 2.5.
Yeah.
Maybe pushing 3.
Were you looking for more?
So what's your
story?
average score?
Did
I
you
mean,
not-
an average movie,
like-
what does that get?
An average movie gets 3.
This is less than average?
This is a little less than average.
Okay,
maybe
this is
it
the
was
point
just
where spoilers are going to start. I'm apologizing.
maybe it was just because I was expecting more, and I want to see more.
If you didn't, did you like
I
Rock'em
wanna
Sock'em?
see
I mean,
more.
Real Steel.
I have not seen Real Steel.
Oh.
Stop about the Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
It's-
I know it was based on that.
Okay.
But-
Did you like Gundam Wing?
Not particularly. I'm not a big mech
Do you like
fan.
Voltron?
Oh, you're
Yeah, a
not
little.
a big Mech
Wait, hold on.
fan?
Let's back up. Do you
Whoa.
like Power Rangers?
A bit.
Okay, how can you not like this movie if you like Power Rangers?
I didn't like it a lot.
This has better story than Power Rangers.
It does. It does.
Alpha, we've got a problem. Let's go get the 5 least trained people in the entire world. They're in high school, and we'll have them pilot this giant mech that can destroy towns. That sounds like a great idea, right, Alpha?
Well, I agree. If you pick the worst thing possible and compare this to it, yes, this is a gem.
Do you like Godzilla?
Yes, that is what I do like. I like Godzilla. I like the monsters
comparing
effects.
the monsters to the Godzilla. Okay, well, let's talk about CGI.
I like the
real
fighting.
quick. Let's talk about the CGI real quick. Was that not really good CGI?
Visually.
Visually.
It was amazing. And I kept having to tell myself, because when I buy movies, I buy them and then I watch the extras, on the DVD. And Fast and the Furious, and I'm always going to go back to this one because, I watched the extras and everything is green screened.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. And I just kept having to tell myself throughout the whole movie, they are not really doing this. That is all a green screen. And when I did that and I looked at their acting and what they had to react to, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's amazing because they're putting all of this emotion and realism into, what is going on actually on the screen.
He was in Star Trek.
Clifton Collins, yeah, he was in a lot of things.
He was the ops guy.
Back
okay.
in the 80s, he was the guy that was always the Hispanic gangster.
Well, I hate to pick nits, but
I loved him. He's really good.
it did lose me a bit on the water spray when they were walking through the water with the robots.
Okay.
A little.
Look at the robots and
Which-
look at the monsters.
which
Those
one?
look
Those
good.
were great. Yes,
Those look good.
Those were
no, I mean when
absolutely
they're
fantastic.
walking, they're not tossing water up everywhere.
Yeah.
like they should be.
And the spray itself is not.
It wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But the
Okay.
monsters and the interaction with the cities.
Yeah,
I mean, you
the
guys
city
were
fights was
actually
great.
looking at the water spray.
Yeah,
I was
it's
trying
a
to-
visual medium.
I hate
Okay.
to say it, but I might have looked at this a touch too critical, and that might be
Yeah.
a lot of my standing.
you're wrong.
I'm starting to watch everything critical.
Okay.
I'm turning into a
So
critical
let's
person.
talk about the 3 things that I saw that were so very much another movie. So at the very beginning, they wake up to the alarm, and
Yes.
Charlie hit him. What's his-
HU.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
HUU.
Riley Beckett, the main
HUNAM.
character, jumps out and he gets his
Raleigh.
brother Yancey. Yancey, by the way, Yancey, which that called back to another thing altogether that should not have, because that took me straight to Futurama.
Yeah.
Yancey Fry.
Yeah.
Which it shouldn't have that.
No, it had no real. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
So he says to him, "Don't get cocky, kid." You know that's from.
No.
Jesse, when you watch Star Wars as a kid, and they're in the Millennium Falcon shooting TIE fighters, what does Han Solo say to Luke Skywalker when he blows one up?
You're right. Yep.
What does he say?
Don't get cocky, kid.
Okay. Now, the second thing was... Oh, I lost the second thing. It felt very much like Independence Day.
Yes.
So you're taking all my stuff. It's the stuff that I told you.
No,
and you're
I got the first one.
No,
I was going to leave you Top Gun.
Thanks. Oh, okay.
What about Dumb and Dumber? You were going to mention that later too.
What?
So they find out what's going on with the aliens, and the guy says, Charlie Day says, they come, they conquer, they devour, and they leave. Don't play. That's exactly what Independence Day was. That's essentially what they tell him.
Well, yeah, true. You're right. Yeah,
the premise
the
of
same
the alien
premise,
invasion.
which I'm not. That doesn't kill the movie for me. It's just the same basic premise done in a better way.
Yeah,
honestly. And then the last one. Go ahead, Shirley.
Top Gun.
Top Gun. Tell us about it.
Okay, so when the Independence Day
there was
was
the
over,
other part of Independence
was
Day.
When I think his name is Idris Elba or Pentecost
Marshall.
was standing in the bay or wherever they were, and he's giving that speech, and essentially it's almost the same exact speech, just with different words from the one in Independence Day.
Yeah, he starts off with, "We're canceling the apocalypse." Ugh.
Well, that was the
absolutely.
end of it. We're canceling the apocalypse, and the actor in Independence Day essentially said that this is everyone's Independence Day.
Yeah.
And it just, when he got up there and he started talking, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like something else. And I finally realized that it was like Independence Day. But then a lot of it, when all of the fighters and all of the crew were gathered around and they were doing the celebration, and Pentecost did some of the call outs, and there were a couple call outs from the characters. It was very much like that the last fight on Top Gun, when they came in and everybody was, they did the call outs, and Iceman was like, you can be my wingman, and no, you can be mine. I literally was like waiting for some type of line like that to come out, because it was so much, it was so similar to that scene.
So, if you guys are still listening and haven't seen the movie and we're spoiling you and you're okay with that, let's talk about the story real quick.
Yeah.
So this
is going to be the shortest conversation in this part.
Probably. There's a rift in the Pacific Ocean, and these monsters are coming out, and tanks and machine guns don't seem to slow them down much. They do eventually kill them, but not before they destroy whatever city they're in.
Yeah.
Right.
So they start this thing they're called kaiju, so they start this program called the Jaeger program, which build giant robots called Jaeger. Jaeger is German. According to the movie, please don't quote me on this. According to the movie, Jaeger is German for hunter. So they build these giant robots. And then we find out that the Beckett boys are great fighters, and they have the ability to do a thing called drifting. One pilot can't handle the mental load of a robot, so of the Jaeger. So they have people share the load by merging minds, mind melding. Even they said mind melding.
Yeah.
Did they say that?
They did. They said mind melding.
I think maybe they said it, and then I was like, I'm just going to dismiss that reference.
So they mind meld, and then they control the robot together by being the same person, essentially, and sharing memories and all that. Well, the main character and his brother go out to fight one, and it's a really big one, and it catches them off guard, and doesn't get killed by their plasma shooting, and kills the main character's brother. Literally rips him out of the cockpit. And that kind of ends his career, and then the main part of the movie starts 6 years later. They're shutting down all the Jaeger programs. They're building a wall.
Yeah, which was 5 years after the initial trouble in the first place.
Yeah.
The 6 years after, the 5 years after. So we've already jumped 11 years, about maybe 10 minutes into this movie.
It was probably more like 20.
Maybe.
Remember, it's a 2-hour movie. It's probably 20 minutes in.
Maybe.
So they're building a wall, which, by the way, Walls didn't keep the Huns out. Walls didn't keep the Turks out. Walls don't keep anybody out. We don't build walls now.
They didn't keep the zombies out.
Yeah, they didn't even keep the zombies out.
Exactly.
Go back to our last immediate review. They went right over the freaking wall in that thing. So walls are worthless. So their whole plan is, we're going to build a wall. Right? Seriously? Around the entire Pacific Ocean? That's your plan. That's what their plan was, right?
Yeah.
We're going to build...
That was it.
Okay, let's talk about the... You can't do that. How are you going to build a wall? You have to build a wall around every continent. On the edge of the continent, just build a wall.
You'd have to, because even if it starts in the Pacific, they could just swim around
Yeah.
to the other ocean. But it doesn't matter. Like while they're still constructing they start...
What happens to everybody in Hawaii?
Who needs Hawaii?
People that live in Hawaii. We have listeners. No, we don't have listeners in Hawaii.
We may have listeners in Hawaii.
No, not according to our download stats.
No, I said in the future.
Oh, yeah, no. We love Hawaii.
Yes,
Jesse's
yes.
a
I have
jerk.
family in Hawaii.
Well, I'm sure they'd have been
Extended
evacuated.
family. Okay.
They were talking about heavy evacuations at
As
that time also.
long as families
So they built this wall, and they're down to 4 Jaegers, which, by the way, you've got 4? The entire Pacific Rim. Millions upon millions, probably billions of people, because it's China. You've got 4. Also...
Well, you think about the aperture of the portal. I mean, the 4, you're thinking about one portal aperture.
That portal had to be pretty freaking close to Hong Kong, too.
Whole...
It did, because
Didn't
they were
think
moving a
about
lot
it.
quicker. That's one of the plot holes I was talking about.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that they go... Why aren't they always attacking the same location?
Yeah.
If they're coming out. And they do state that they're after the main cities to weaken us. But still, it's... They get to Hong Kong in like no time as they pop out of that portal.
Well, and they get from Hong Kong to the portal in no time.
Yeah.
Like, they're underwater for like a minute, and then they're at the portal.
Yeah.
And I don't care how big you are, you can't run thousands of miles.
They specifically state in the show that only one of them is even vaguely fast.
Yeah.
And it's not fast.
It's not really.
Well, I think they left most of that out. You're talking about the Jaegers, right? Getting to the portal.
They did helicopter them out there.
Yeah,
They did
helicoptered them
helicopter
out there. But the thing
They
is...
didn't helicopter in the Jaegers. Not the Jaegers, but they didn't helicopter in the Kaiju, though.
No. It's true.
Yeah.
Well, but the kaiju can fly.
Well, only one can. And only one swam real fast, too. The rest of them didn't move
2
that
of them
fast.
swam
Well,
fast.
yeah,
The
but
big
there's
one
still
at
the
the
late
end.
one.
Right.
Yeah. There were stage 4s or
rest of
category
them-
4s or whatever they call them.
Yeah. So the whole thing comes down to these 4 Jaegers. It's a Russian team, and they are very stereotypical Russian.
Yes.
A Japanese team, and they're very stereotypical.
Japanese.
An Australian team, and they're kind of jerks.
Yeah.
And then this main character, Raleigh, his team, and it's him by himself, and he needs another pilot, and that's where you meet Mako, and she joins the team, and they have problems drifting, and end of story is the only people that survive are...
I don't remember. I know that the Russian one was painted red, but was the Japanese mech painted red too? I thought so.
It
So
was
they were
red
both
and
wearing
gold.
they were both wearing red shirts then, basically.
No, I
they
don't
do
think
basically
the
just,
Russians were...
the Russians are red.
I don't think so.
The
Weren't
Russians
they?
were black.
I thought the Russian was
more
red.
black.
And
The Japanese were like red and gold.
okay, so
You
only
kinda
one of
got
them
that
was
Japanese
technically
dragonish-
wearing a red shirt.
Yeah,
Looking...
But when you met them, didn't you know that they were basically put there to die?
No, they're super gray.
Are they?
The Russians
yeah,
are.
Okay.
they're black.
And with a stupid helmet. That giant...
Oh, that weird
flat-
sort of like a...
It was flat.
It was kind of like their hats on the old guards.
And the thing is, that's what, when they were introducing each Jaeger, and it was like the Russians and the Japanese and the Australians and then the American, you had the Gypsy Daisy?
Gypsy Danger.
Gypsy Danger. It all felt like it was calling back to one of the world wars, I can't remember, where the planes, the Japanese were the suicide bombers, and you had planes actually named kind of like Gypsy Danger.
Yeah.
There was a Gypsy something. And then the Russians were very... I felt like, I don't know if any of you have seen Red October.
Yeah.
But it felt when they introduced them, it felt very much like the opening scene of Red October, where you had the Russian anthem and, that whole buildup of, like, the old world.
Yeah, and
That's the whole stereotypical.
It does mention it's the
Yeah.
only Mark 1
Yeah.
left, and so
the big heavy hitter.
those, so they end up, the Russians die to drowning.
Yeah, the Japanese die in the same fight.
Which is kind
Japanese
of...
die to being crushed to death.
Yeah.
Right. Which, the Russians drowning that way, it kind of... It made me... I don't know, I was thinking, you know, like, there's all the movies that have had Russian subs and everything in it, and they usually survive, and then them drowning in that way, in their Jaeger in the ocean, I was just like, wow, that's kind of impactful.
Can we use this moment to talk about character deaths, or should we wait until...
Let's wait a little bit. So, the Russians and the Japanese die in the first big assault. And then the Australians and the American-ish one. It's not really American because it also had a Japanese or a Hong Kong. Japanese because she was from Tokyo.
She was from Tokyo, but she was raised by the captain who was
the marshal.
Yeah, who's
Pentecost.
Yeah,
English or American. So
technically, she's
they go out. They go to seal the thing. There's some other plot twists, and they seal the rift, and everyone wins except for the people that died. And that's pretty much the story. I mean, it's not a super in-depth story. There's some more to it, but it's really not super in-depth. Guillermo del Toro said that he was making a popcorn action flick, and I think he did. I think he did perfect. I enjoyed every single bit of it. There wasn't anything I didn't enjoy. You're going to tell me all about all these plot holes. I just ignored them. Go ahead.
I understand.
Go ahead. So tell me. I mean, the rift thing being wherever.
The rift thing was the plot hole. There is
That's all you got.
There's also a what is it called? Deus Ex Machina or something like that.
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, there is one of those. During I want to say the second to last fight. This whole movie, they're shown punching these kaiju all over the place.
Okay.
I felt like I was watching a boxing match.
Then one of them, it was with the flyer, grabs the suit up, takes up, and then all of a sudden, at last resort, they've lost their plasma gun, everything. They decide to equip the sword. So they've had this sword the whole time.
The reason they don't use the sword is they explain that. They do.
What?
Blood. The blue blood pollutes the water. They explain that at the very beginning of the movie.
But
they're shooting them to pieces, and they're punching them to death. There's just as much blue blood everywhere else.
True.
With the laser cannon, yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
no, because the Japanese one had blades. They had the
Japanese
blades.
one did have blades the whole time, but the Australian one was punching.
It had blades.
And then towards the end it started using blades. Why weren't they using the blades the whole time? I'll admit, the Japanese one turns on their blades pretty quickly.
I don't know. I got no reason why they didn't use them the whole time. It was the last resort.
But why would it be a last resort? It's a good weapon.
Because your primary weapon is a plasma cannon.
Well, it is, but they were still punching. It just seems like anytime you laid a punch, you should have the sword attached to it. Does it come right out of their fist?
Yeah.
It's like Wolverine never using his claws.
No, that's what Wolverine is. It's like Wolverine not using his samurai sword because he has one of those. Oh.
No, it's not. It's
yes,
like,
it's exactly like
punch,
that.
No, nothing like that.
So, also, he didn't know he had it. I'm going to argue that point.
Until she pointed it out. I mean, he was like, what?
Which, by the way,
so he's the world's worst pilot then, because he doesn't know what his machine does.
No, because it got added on, and they only had like 2 days.
Yeah.
It might have been added on.
I felt
she said that her whole thing is she's been upgrading the Mark III.
True.
So she knew because she put it there.
Still, she should have turned it on earlier.
Or gone, hey, here's the new manual. By the way, there's a sword.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your next plot hole? That it?
Well,
that's it.
The next problem I had was the entire movie. They state how hard it is to drift with someone. It's just this really hard thing. You have to find a perfect match. You have to be exactly equal. And all of a sudden, the Marshall decides.
Did you hear why though? Why it's so hard to because they show you the reason it's so hard to drift is because
you bring in the baggage of each person.
And you latch onto memories sometimes.
Yes.
And you can latch onto other people's memories. You have to learn how to let that go. And what the Marshal says is, I bring nothing. Because he's so trained.
But that's...
But he knows how to do it.
I don't know about
and
that.
He knew what the other guy was going to bring, and he was ready for that. This is a seasoned veteran who understands how to do it. So what they're saying is rookies don't know how to drift, and that's why they're so hard to find.
Bring up the alien thing.
Oh no,
alien drifting.
Oh yeah, no, I kind of like the alien drifting thing because they did. I felt like they were a better match than just about anybody else who was matched together.
Yeah.
but
yeah.
they were made.
I mean, the two
developed,
brothers
but
made sense.
Yeah.
The triplets made sense.
Yeah.
the guy and the girl made sense
Because they were brother
they
and
wanted.
sister.
I meant the
yeah.
hero and the
Yeah.
woman who joins him later because
Yeah.
they wanted to get together anyway.
Yeah. So I'm okay with all of them. There's not one
Still,
on there that I
it's-
didn't. Yeah.
My main part of my man is from character development, and there seems like there was
What-
so much potential
so
here
let me
for
ask
another
you a
story.
question.
I know it's not what the director
no,
wanted.
No. What's your favorite action movie?
What's my favorite action movie? Demolition Man.
Where's the character development?
Throughout the entire
Demolition
movie.
Man is
Wrong.
a
Yeah.
action
What?
movie?
He learns how to knit? That's the character development?
It is, because
There's
he no longer
no,
has the
that-
fighting ability.
He still has all the fighting ability. He
There's
just doesn't
history.
have the action.
It talks about
history is not a character. We're
history
talking about
is a character.
We're
It's
talking about
part
the
of your
characters here.
personality.
Yeah.
We're talking
Your
about-
history is part of
We're
your
talking about
personality.
Wesley Snipes, no character development.
There's a ton of character development for Wesley Snipes.
Sylvester Stallone, no character
He
development.
does not show remorse at the end of the show.
Sandra Bullock, no character development.
There is.
Oh, except-
she almost
Ding dong.
completely
Except
changes.
she
Well,
allows
through
she
the
allows him
arc
to
of the
touch her.
story, throughout the arc
Okay.
of the story, almost
Actually,
every character
sadly
changes.
enough, John Leguizamo has the most character development in
Yes.
that movie.
John Leguizamo's in it?
I'm pretty sure.
What is he doing?
He's one of the cops. I'm pretty sure that's him.
Anyway, though,
There's no
Ah.
there's no character development in most action movies.
if
and
this
you're
was
looking
made into a sequel, I could see this being a better movie. If there were two of them, maybe give it a little longer. Like I said earlier, Hannibal Chow is one of my favorite characters. I could watch a 2.5-hour movie centered on him.
Oh, I'm sorry,
think
that was
you're
Benjamin
Benjamin
Bratt.
Bratt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they look the same, right?
No.
Which it helps. I like Ron Perlman in just about everything he does.
Ron Perlman. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so yeah,
He was
Hannibal
fun.
Chow could be.
He was fun,
I would
but
watch
he was
it.
not a serious character either. I mean, like,
No,
but
not
did
at
you wait
all.
to the end?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a scene at the end where Ron Perlman's character gets eaten by a baby kaiju, and cuts his way out at the end of the movie, and you don't know
Yeah.
he's still alive. That was
Yeah.
kind of fun. I like
That
that.
was.
That was fun.
But it seems like, I
It
don't
was
know,
good
there
that they
were
put it
parts
at
that
the
they
end
tried
like
to add a
that,
little
though.
bit of fun that I kind of just rolled my eyes at,
Eh.
too. Like when the fist
Yeah.
punches through the building and then it sets off the continual motion thing.
No, that was we both laughed. I loved that.
could not help but to roll my eyes at that moment.
It was funny, but it just seemed misplaced a
Yeah,
little
it
bit.
wasn't.
Yeah, okay, I
that
could see
wasn't the
that.
kind of
I
movie it
can.
needed. They could have spent that time developing characters.
Oh,
Yeah.
it just wasn't.
Maybe it's not the kind of movie I like anymore. Is what I'm trying to say. This isn't what I go for when I go to watch movies anymore. It was at one time. It's
And now you go for stuff like
not me anymore.
what?
What was the last movie I've seen that I enjoyed?
Hopefully, World War Z.
Yeah, World War Z
There's no
was-
character development there.
You're just going to try to argue with me with
No,
everything,
I'm
aren't
just
you?
I'm trying to point out that your argument of no character development, that's why this movie sucks. Then you look at other movies that you have
I
enjoyed
didn't say no
recently.
character development was the only thing. No
Oh, okay.
character development
Okay.
was part of it. It's
Okay.
also the plot holes, which there's plenty of in World War Z.
Yeah. Well, every movie's going to have plot holes.
It is.
You're going to either have to accept them or hate every movie. I mean, honestly. It depends on how glaringly bad they are.
Yeah.
And there were some bad ones in this one, but they weren't that bad.
No, I'm not saying I was upset for watching it. I'm glad I watched it. I would have rather watched it at the house.
I don't know.
Possibly on Netflix.
Honestly, I think that kind of movie you need a big screen for.
Yeah.
But it's more seems like one of those kind of movies that I'd rather talk about as I watch it. And
Oh,
I
okay.
can
Okay. No, I
laugh
can
with
see
somebody and say, hey, did you see that? Or
that. Yeah.
reminisce about better movies.
So you didn't like it because of the plot holes?
That's not the only
Well,
reason.
I'm
It's-
summarizing. I'm summarizing.
Plot holes there.
And the
Not
lack of character development. What else?
It helps that there was also... It seemed to have followed the wrong characters. There's characters that I cared for. I didn't really care too much for the main character.
Yeah, he was a little on the stiff side.
I liked the scientist. I didn't think I would at to start with. And when they first introduced him, I thought they went as stereotypical with those two guys as they possibly could.
Justin
But
Robert Young was really good in those scenes. What? No.
But it just seemed like the pacing. It skipped things I wanted to see.
Yeah.
When it first skipped the first 5 years, that first 5 years was the movie I wanted to watch.
But the thing is, the first fight they built.
I know, they were winning
this is
and they
what
were building.
Do. This is
Yeah.
what they do. They tell you the story, then they tell you this. They tell you what happened up to now, so you understand what's going on. Then they establish why this character is down and out. Then they bring him back, and I'm fine with that. I had no problem with that. I understand why you would want to see the winning part, But that would have been a boring movie. There's no threat there. I guess if it had been like this thing showed up, oh my god, we need to go build something, but it took 14 months. Are we going to really watch a movie for 14 months?
Well, true. I don't want to see everything, but still, it seems like they could have at least talked about other categories. You see a Category 1, you see a Category 3, you see a Category 4. They completely skipped Category 2.
That's true.
I think it's because that they would have just...
When we see a Category 5.
We see a Category 5.
Yeah.
Which was huge.
It was.
And had spinning tails of death. That was kind of dumb.
Yeah, when I first seen the tentacles come up, I thought they had actually pulled Cthulhu out of this, and I was thinking, this is saved. This is perfect.
That's what I thought of when it came up out of out of the depths. But
it comes up with its tentacles. But what was it doing? Coming out in reverse? Because that's its tails.
But
it was
octopus,
up. It was using them to spin and attack. That's
okay.
I mean, you think of squid and octopus and
things from the deep,
things
other
from the deep.
worlds.
So it's not so far fetched. That would be, one of the scary things.
So, plot holes.
The biggest plot hole was the kaiju getting to Hong Kong when they needed to really quickly.
Yeah, that was a little quick.
I think what I felt like you guys are saying is that there was he cut out all the time.
He did.
He cut out all the time it took for
the
the monsters to get
times,
somewhere,
Well,
and the Jaegers to get to another place.
I get why the Russian drowned, but they express in the movie that we've done this before. We've assaulted the rift before. Yeah. If you've assaulted the rift before, why aren't your mechs built with better sensors? Oh, I can't see nothing. That's what he keeps saying.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing. Why aren't you equipped with something better? Yeah. You just said we've done this. If you've done this before, why aren't you better equipped?
Do you think that there would be better radar?
Yeah. I mean, crap.
The Navy has better radar right now.
Well, it seemed like once they were winning, 90% of the fighting was happening out in the ocean. Yeah. So why were they still using mechs at all? I mean, they could have had the Jaegers for the land-based attacks if something slipped through, but it seems like they'd be working more on a naval force or something, like a more powerful submarine or something, or...
Well, you saw how big those were.
You don't have the maneuverability with a submarine.
Yeah, you really don't.
True.
And submarines, you're firing blind.
Yeah, that
something
would work
to fire.
Yeah, there'd be no sonar possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... I get what you're saying, but no. It doesn't. I don't think it works that way. So, what did you like about the movie? The monsters?
I like the monsters. I like the fighting. It was a good, fun movie. When I watched it, it reminded me of Robot Jox.
Did you like the King Kong monster?
Yes. Yes, I did. That was, it was definitely King Kong. I liked the sub-characters. I liked the Russians while they were there, but I feel like they were a waste of time because they were only put in there to die. When they first entered up, I went, they're dead. I'll admit. I was shocked that the Japanese and the Russians dying in the same fight was surprising.
Yeah,
but
that one a little... You're right. You said it was rushed.
Yeah.
On Facebook, you said that. It did feel very rushed. It went very quickly. And it didn't feel like a 2-hour movie. At all.
No, it didn't. That is one good thing about it. It really feels like it's...
It's more like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Or maybe an hour and 45, and you've got a whole nother... Yeah. I really liked Hannibal Chow.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite character in the movie.
And Charlie Day's character was pretty good, the scientist, the crazy one. Although he came off a little Pokemon hungry.
A little bit.
So, what did you think, sweetie? Anything you got to point out?
I like the movie a lot. As far as character development goes, when I think of character development for a movie, I think of it over like a long period of time. I've been the same person for 4 or 5 years. I don't expect the characters to change that much while they're on screen unless they're going for like a 10-year stint and you're seeing a time lapse over a long period of time. So when I think of character development, that's what I think, and I'm probably thinking wrong. But my favorite character in the whole movie was the little girl. Oh my gosh! I mean,
it was well acted.
It really was.
She was amazing. She made you believe that there was monsters underneath the bed and in the closet, and the way that if it was a blue screen or whatever, the way that she cried the whole time. But she just made you feel like it was real. That was the part where I was sitting on the edge of my seat the whole time. The other part was like, oh, I'm just watching, another Fast and the Furious.
That was one of my favorite parts too, especially with the knight in shining armor sort of a moment when he's standing on top of the robot.
Exactly. And the thing is, I don't know if this is a stereotype or if this is a callback to the 80s or whatever, but I just remember a lot of movies where there were Oriental and then people of color. They were always together, they always got married, and it seemed like that type of pairing. And then when this happened, I was like, oh god, that's like such a stereotype. I've seen that like in movies 100 times before. So I think that was another throwback. There were some times in the movie where the music that they were using didn't match the scene that was going on. I felt like there was this part where it was going dun 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 dun, and what was happening on the screen wasn't the same as the movie, so it was very disconcerting to me because I'm trying to sit here, because I love music, I'm trying to sit here and watch the movie, and I hear this offbeat rhythm going on with the scene, so that was a little disconcerting. But overall, I really liked it. What I realized is, and I asked Matt about this after the movie was over, I was like, so in Sons of Anarchy, does Charlie protect women a lot? Is he always standing up for them or fighting for them or whatever? And he told me that that's one part of Charlie's character in Sons of Anarchy, and it's something that he did in this movie with Mako. Yeah. And I think it was last week or the week before, I had watched Deadfall, and he's in that as well with Olivia Wilde and Eric Bana, and he does the exact same thing. Like, his facial expressions and the way that he, carried himself within that scene of when he's like, you need to apologize to her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just saw him do this in Deadfall. So I think that that's kind of a quirk maybe he's picking up with his scripts. I've noticed that a lot of actors do that. They'll play the same type of, I don't know if it's a hook, in music, different bands have hooks. That's what makes them unique. I don't know if this is his hook, but I thought that was interesting that he was doing it again in this movie.
Thanks for mentioning he was in Sons of Anarchy, because I thought I'd seen him from somewhere and I couldn't place him.
Yeah.
I've only watched a couple episodes of that, so I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I started it, but I'm kind of in a Breaking Bad sort of a thing now. So.
Yeah. This is only a couple of bits of trivia. This is only the second movie that Guillermo del Toro has had Ron Perlman as a human in.
Oh, really?
The other was Kronos.
What? I've heard that a couple times. What's Kronos?
It's a movie.
Nice.
With Ron Perlman in it.
Also,
seen it?
No, I have not, honestly. No. Ellen McLean was the voice of the computer, also the voice of GLaDOS from Portal and Portal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm trying to. There was something else. Jaeger, blah blah blah.
Well, when I first said Jaeger, when I heard Jaeger on the commercials, I thought it was in reference to Chuck Yeager.
Oh,
the test pilot guy.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
Jaeger is spelled with Y there.
Well, they didn't show the writing on the commercials.
Yeah,
so.
Gypsy Danger is painted and detailed to resemble a World War II fighter pilot. That's
World
why.
War II fighter pilots, exactly. And then, so Gottlieb, the British scientist, what else has he been in?
I've seen him in something. Yeah. I know I have.
He's a very recognizable face, and I keep wanting to say that I've seen him in one of the Joe movies, but I know that's wrong.
I'm sorry,
I think I've seen him in something.
Gottlieb. His name is Byrne something. His first name is actually Byrne, B-U-R-N. Byrne Gorman.
The stiff scientist.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's in G.I. Joe, but he's in Game of Thrones.
Oh, that
Dark
might be
Knight
worse.
Rises as a dude.
Who's in Game of Thrones?
Carl. Carl that's always being chased by zombies.
Huh.
No, I'm not seeing him in anything big. He did look familiar, though. I think he reminds us of that guy from that other thing.
Yeah.
He was in something about Mary. And I can't think of his name either.
Yeah.
Oh, I also liked Max Martini being in it. The dad.
Oh.
Australian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was also in
what was his name?
The Unit, I believe.
The unit.
It was a good TV show as long as you stopped
Evans.
before the last season of it.
That guy. I know it doesn't look like it there, but yeah.
So, yeah, I saw him and I thought, okay, he's on Defiance. He's the dad, but he's not the dad on Defiance. He looks similar to the dad on Defiance.
Okay.
But
Did any of the deaths shock any of you guys?
I was
you
surprised.
at any of them?
I was surprised that they died so quickly in those first.
Yeah, but I meant overall, though. Did anybody die who you thought wouldn't, or did anybody survive who you didn't think would survive?
I
honestly
actually thought when it got to the end of the movie that it was going to be sacrifice all four. And I was
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, I did.
I
And
expected them not to walk away from that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
neither
I would
did
have been
I.
okay with that
And
too.
so would I. My dad, the reason why I watched so many movies is because my dad used to take us to a lot of movies, and he said something really poignant to me one time. He was like, Americans don't like unhappy endings.
Yeah.
They can't handle it. And I was like, really? And I started paying attention after that movie makers, they don't not give you a happy ending.
Yeah.
And I kept searching for movies that did not have happy endings, because that's what most of life is. You know, you get to that point where it's crap.
Do you like
And
subtitled movies?
I love subtitled movies.
Watch anything from Hong Kong, and it almost always has a tragic ending.
Okay.
Or at least a not so great ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may end it happily, but there's been a lot of bad stuff on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it like kind of reinforces that like egotistical thing where, well, it doesn't matter how bad things get or how, tragic or anything, it's always going to end up good. And I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, because we're either in denial or we're looking at the good side of things. But if all four of them had died at the end of the movie, I would have walked away and have been fine with that, because that's what you have to do sometimes.
I agree.
Have to sacrifice.
But you did think that they were going to die, though.
Yeah.
See, I
when they
pegged
all
that they
went
ruined
down
it.
into the portal or the pit, whatever, I definitely thought
Yeah.
that
I knew
they were all
that the
gone.
Japanese and the Russians were going to die when they didn't get any more screen time. Then these are those guys. These are those
Yeah.
guys. And then we meet the Australian.
the
and
jerk
we talk to him,
who was bound to redeem himself
We
with
hear
death.
all about all. We
Yeah.
knew he was going to be there. That was a little too, it was too easily done. But overall, I was not surprised by any of the deaths.
Yeah, the only thing that surprised me was the Australian dad, but that's just because I figured he was going to be with his son when he redeemed himself. I really did.
The other guy had to go out.
Well, I knew he was going to die, but I didn't know how he was going to die.
Once
I didn't think he was going to
once
ride.
I realized that he was dying from whatever the radiation, I knew he was going to die that way. I knew he was going to get in there.
Did you at any point think that somebody was going to pilot one of them by themselves?
Yeah, they did. At the very beginning.
No, I meant though later on, because they always kept talking about how great it was that those two did it, and then he stated, "I've piloted one by myself." Mm-hmm. I figured he was going to get one of the ones that were, like maybe one of those pushing the back that was just kind of okay. And
I felt like that. I felt like maybe that part of it was an undeveloped part of the story.
At one point, I kind of expected when they drifted with the kaiju, for them, when they said that it was hive mind, I expected them to take over one of the kaiju and use it.
That I definitely thought that.
Oh, did you?
He kept was like, oh my gosh, this and this, and then he mind melded, and after that they kept looking for that second brain. I expected the story to go longer because I knew they were going to find out their plan, which is another thing to Independence Day, because when the alien takes over the president and knocks him out and starts talking through him, the president sees all of their colonization plans, and he almost passes out. So that was kind of
that was Brent Spiner that he took over, and then
the president, they zapped him, but So that was another thing to Independence Day. But when they got the second brain, I definitely thought that they were going to be able to like take one of them over and maybe subdue the race or find out more information, because I felt like, oh, we're going to find out about this other alien race. And in alien movies, I always look for more information of what people think. I would have loved to hear what Guillermo del Toro thought an alien race would look like.
Yeah.
And feel like, and
I'll
us.
tell you, that's fine. Watch Pan's Labyrinth or Hellboy.
Oh no,
You're done.
I love Pan's Labyrinth. Like Pan's Labyrinth is one of my
that's his
favorite
alien races,
movies.
all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a very vivid imagination and does well with bringing it.
Why do you think that Pan's Labyrinth had anything to do with aliens?
Because those are all alien.
Yeah.
Those creatures.
What creatures?
Mr. Eyes in the Hand.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay,
I think you're thinking of the
it's
wrong
a god.
Pan movie.
It's a god.
What movie are you talking about?
I'm talking about Pan's Labyrinth with the big blue pan. He has the big curly.
Right, but there's
things,
like 100 other creatures.
and the
in
little
that.
girl gets shot.
Yeah, there's like
at the
100
end.
other creatures in that. Those are all the aliens. I mean, just
Why do you
look at them like because they're not human. Anything not human is technically an alien.
Okay, I can see it from that point of view, but they're
That is
they're
the
gods.
definition.
Well, right, so you're going to
Yeah.
say what in Guillermo del Toro's mind is the most alien thing he could come up with that would look like.
Okay.
Then
So
there's
you're
your
talking
answer.
about okay.
Jeez.
Okay, I got that.
I mean,
I
By
was
the way,
like,
we just spoiled
well,
another
you're like-
movie.
Yeah,
Snape
look
kills Dumbledore. And, what else is it? Superman kills.
look at Hellboy for the same thing.
Yeah.
Look at all those creatures there.
Right.
Those are all aliens to us. They're another
Right.
race.
Yeah. It's just your definition of what an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
So I have to say, I know you poo-pooed this movie, but here's why I loved it. So in 3 movies in the last 2 years, I've gotten this feeling. My heart starts beating faster. I get that sense of amazement and enjoyment, and I got it in Captain America. I got it in the Avengers. I got it in this one, and there was another one. I don't remember which one it was. But those are the 3 movies, and those are the hallmarks for me. Captain America had its moments where I was just in awe. Same thing with Avengers, and now this one. And to me, that thing that can make me feel like a little kid in such a great way, that makes a good movie. And if that all by itself is the only reason I enjoy the movie, I'm perfectly fine with it. Even if the story isn't great, the action was awesome.
See, I kind of had the reverse effect. I feel as if the kid in me would have enjoyed it, but I
Why can't you
don't
embrace
enjoy
that?
it as much anymore. That's the whole feeling
Why do
old
you have-
thing again.
why do
I
you
am
have to be
starting.
an old fogey?
I'm
Why
starting
can't
to
you
feel
just be a
old.
kid?
I know. I overlook things.
Did you
I
expect
shouldn't.
something in this movie?
I might have.
I think that might be the problem.
I might have expected more than I got.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but
Yeah.
I've learned a long time ago, like before the first G.I. Joe movie, not to expect anything out of a movie.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I expect something, it's gonna let me down. Period. If I expect, like in this one, I expected to go in and see a giant robot fight a giant monster. Well, excuse me, and for me to have fun with it. I got all that.
That might be it. I went into World War Z expecting trash, and I got.
And you felt way better about
I
that.
did.
You gave that like a 4.
Pretty good story.
Yeah.
You gave that a 4.
That might be it. Maybe I expected more of this movie.
Yeah, that's fine because it's Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
Because you expect something out of that
Yeah.
director, and you just didn't realize what you should have expected out of that actor
Yeah.
or director. I think is what it was. Because,
And I
because
understand
you
he
love
got
Ron-
what he wanted. It
Yeah.
is exactly the kind of movie he planned to make. It just wasn't the kind of movie I wanted to watch.
Okay. All right. Do we have anything else to add to this? Any other thoughts?
Just it's a really good movie, and we haven't touched on every single part of
No,
it.
no.
And that I recommend people going and seeing it.
I think it's something that if you go in expecting to see action and adventure, and you don't expect a whole lot of movie, I think you'll come out feeling like you didn't waste your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the trailers definitely matched it this
Yeah,
time.
I have to say the trailers
Yeah.
did match this one. They didn't match World War Z very well. They were a little off, but that's not in a bad
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Unlike After Earth, the trailers didn't match at all, and that was disappointing.
That might be another part of my problem. I don't watch trailers. Unless I'm at a movie where I watch trailers, I don't watch TV. I watch Netflix. I have no commercials.
Well, that's
Do you
a
have
good
the
thing, though.
internets
Well, if I'm going to watch something on the internet, I'm not going to watch a commercial. I'll watch a TV show
I'm
or
just
something
saying,
else.
like,
But
you
yeah, I
could get on and
could have researched it.
You should have researched this since this was part of our movie draft.
But I felt as if I just wanted to go in with a clean slate.
Yeah.
But you didn't go in with.
I know. You always have baggage.
I know. Well,
And my baggage is
which
heavy.
is the story of the movie.
Oh my gosh, it is
It
very
is,
much
it
the
is.
story.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna wrap up a little bit. Is that? Are we?
Yeah, that works for me.
So I think we all enjoyed it to a point. I think Jesse could have enjoyed it more if he had not expected so much of it. He expected a deeper movie.
Yeah. When I watch it again with my family, I'll probably love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and when you compare it to all of our other monster movies, what else do we have that's anything like this visually?
The Avengers.
No, monster movies. That's
That's
alien.
monsters.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, fine. Besides the Avengers, nothing. I mean, nothing. Look at Godzilla and all that stuff. Even King Kong, the newest King
Godzilla
Kong.
disappointed me so much. The
Either-
American Godzilla did.
Well, no, I'm talking about the old Godzillas.
Yeah.
The really bad ones.
No, those were great.
I mean, they're bad special effects.
Yeah, but they had great story.
They didn't. How can you love?
When the little tiny women sung the Mothra, it opened my heart.
Okay, all right, we're gonna move right on. So that is it for us tonight on the Nerds Domain podcast. You can always send us an email at nerdsdomain@gmail.com, or you can catch us on Twitter. I'm at Quiet. Shirley is at sned70. Jesse is at j_Kimmett, or you can follow the website at Nerds Domain. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdsdomain. We want to thank Josh Shop for our music, and if you want to help us out, you can head over to our website and click on the Amazon link. You can buy just about anything on Amazon, and it costs you the same shipping time, same shipping price, but a little bit comes back to us. Also, if you enjoyed the podcast, we encourage you to go right over onto iTunes and click some stars and write us a review. We have t-shirts available over at /loot. You can go to tinyurl.com/ndshirts and look at the stuff we've got there, and we will talk to you real soon.